In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at, first off, our hurricane map for the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And the reason we're taking a look at this is because there's actually nothing to see. So we're going to be talking about a quiet 7 days, potentially talking about more going on later on. Then we're going to get into the smoke, okay? So there's a lot of smoke still in the east, and we're going to be talking about when you can expect that to come to an end. And then after that, we're going to carry on with our normal weather segment, and we're going to go over the upcoming pattern where there is a ton of activity taking aim at the east. Really a night and day flip from what we had been seeing. So we have a lot of big changes on the way. So let's move on from this. Nothing to see here. And as we move on to the dust. Okay, as of this morning, there was still a lot around, okay? So we see that this morning, especially in the northeast, all of this is showing up as dust. This is more hazy amounts. Up here is going to be your more like apocalyptic looking skies in these bright whites and yellows going on. So we see a lot of that off of areas in New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, even a bit of northern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Those are the areas where we were seeing that. As we continue this on towards this evening, we're going to see that subside pretty much everywhere. We do see a little bit still going on here along the borders of New York and Pennsylvania there. Still some haziness up and down the mid-Atlantic coast here, as you can see. But we actually continue to see this subside. As we reach tomorrow afternoon, we still see quite a bit here for Pennsylvania and New York, still less than we had seen in the previous days. And then by Saturday here, look at this. We see this winds really shift, and most of that smoke is staying up where it's coming from in Canada and not crossing south of that border. Not really seeing much of anything after that point. As we continue this on, we can see that if those fires continue on, like we mentioned yesterday, they could begin to take aim at the more Great Lakes area here, especially the UP of Michigan there. So we'd be watching for that, and then potentially lowering back down into the northeast. But all of this is assuming that the fire is still going on, so it doesn't really take into account any sort of putting out of the fire, which likely, obviously, by 10 days from now, we can expect that that will be really died down from where it's at now, hopefully. So that is your daily smoke update. Never thought I'd be doing this, but here we are. As we move on to the weather segment, actually what this channel is about here, we could see that by this afternoon, we actually see another line of thunderstorms here for the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. So we see that kind of making a comeback here. By the time we're reaching Friday here, on the 9th, we can see more up and down the East Coast thunderstorms happening again here on Friday the 9th. Saturday here on the 10th, we're still seeing a ton of activity back out here, by the way, for the Rockies and Plains. So let me redraw this here and we'll backtrack. And we see these areas get quiet until about Friday afternoon. So tomorrow, from the time I'm making this video, we see an uptick in this. And then Saturday as well, we see more of this activity. But watch, as we reach Sunday, it's evident that a lot of this activity is actually going to move out of this area and into the southeast and Ohio Valley, where we're going to see a big change in what we've been seeing. This area here that I'm circling in is going to be really the biggest, most active area here in the pattern after this weekend. So this is Saturday the 11th. And then Sunday the 11th, better yet. And then by Monday the 12th here, look at this. We get a massive low, 1,000 millibar. Not really anything insane, but the frontal boundaries here are really interesting. We get this intense cold front underneath, likely bringing strong thunderstorms up and down the southeast, as you can see. We do have a little bit of a warm front dynamic, and this is really what's going to cause this smoke to head back north, because we see this more northern flow of things out ahead of this cold front. So that's what gets it out of here basically by this upcoming weekend and early in the week. By Tuesday, what we see is that funnel boundary has moved offshore, so we see a lot of this activity is now here. Still the northeast seeing some by this point. We see a stronger low, 997. Hopefully this can get some rain on those fires. I know it's not going to get it all the way gone, but if we can start to hinder the development and growth of that fire, that would be great. We can see for the deeper south here, areas like Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and then even up through Florida, especially northern Florida, we see some thunderstorms developing in this area by Tuesday the 13th. Let's take a look at Wednesday the 14th. We see this system is still bringing rainfall to the mid-Atlantic, northeast, and eastern Canada. We can see for the deeper south areas here, again, seeing still some thunderstorm development. It's by Thursday that we see another low, an actual organized system developing here. is a little slider that just slides on through. No really defined frontal boundaries, and what we see is a lot of stationary type linear storm motion like this. And what this does is it creates what we call quote-unquote training. And what this does is, imagine train cars on a train. That's what these cells are doing. So you're seeing rainstorm after rainstorm after rainstorm on a linear fashion like this. So if they move along that line like this, you see tons and tons of rainfall from these types of events potentially. And that's what this looks like to me could take place. It does begin to actually develop offshore here potentially, which would bring even more storminess onshore. A very, very light version, I would say, of what we saw right at the end of May into the beginning of June. That does eventually move offshore and develop northward, potentially tropical concerns, subtropical concerns, a little bit of a development there. Who knows? But it is that time of year where we need to consider that basically with all of these coastal lows. We do see the storminess continues here for the Gulf Coast, the South Central. That is going to be a continued kind of trend here. As we take a look at this total precipitation, it's very, very clear that this area is the most active here due to multiple systems moving through in this area. This is now our place to watch. Northeast is not quiet either, though. They're kind of a close second. And then the Northern Rockies actually coming in third here with a lot of activity for those areas as well. We mostly watch for the red areas. That's what we would consider to be, in general, above average precipitation. But it's very tough when you're looking at a country like the United States, where averages vary a ton, anywhere from nearly 0 inches per month to 5-6 inches per month, perhaps in southern Louisiana, southern Florida, southern Texas. Those areas get a lot more. And then there's areas in between, like my area in Virginia, where it's a lot closer to about 3 inches. So a much more middle ground area for the rainfall. So that is kind of why it's complicated. But when you see, an inch to 2 over the course of a 10-day period, most areas that's going to be above average. So that is why we indicate these red areas. Total snowfall here, still expecting some dusting type amounts for these mountaintops in the Rockies, still close to a foot or more there for the Sierra Nevadas. We'll continue to update you guys on that. The temperature pattern here, we're cooler in the east. We start to see another cool down move in for early next week, but after that, that is finally when we get into a little bit of a warmer pattern. We can see this cooler air mass really is playing its part and causing this warmth to pretty much surge to the east here. It's not along the coast, but it is acting as a negative PNA. As you can see, there is some positive temperatures here closer to the coast, making things a little bit complicated, but it is still acting like a classic positive PNA, and it kind of continues to do that. We do see some cooler air for the northeast, potentially bringing near normal conditions here for a lot of this pocket here, where like 95% of our viewers are from. The Ohio Valley, Northeast, and Mid-Atlantic and Southeast here, all looking at near normal conditions for later in June, apparently, according to this model. But we're going to have to continue to track this and wait and see. I hope you guys will stay tuned with us. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, as we will update you guys on all of these things every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Also, be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.